Okay. Very good afternoon to all dear students. Hello, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Okay, very good afternoon to all. Okay, on the behalf of SNJB's College of Engineering, I warmly welcome to Dr. Parag Kulkarni sir. Okay, I shortly introduce to sir. Dr. Parag Kulkarni sir is author, poet, and chief scientist, also the advisor at iKnowledge Research Labs Private Limited, and also he is CEO of the Kevina Limited, an AI and ML based product company. Sir is one of the leading authorities in business knowledge and innovation strategies. He is consultant in areas knowledge, management, machine learning, value innovation, business, and IT strategy and data mining. He is expert in text and data analytics and alumnus of IIT and IIM. Dr. Parag holds PhD from IIT Kharagpur, UJSM Monarch Business School, Swiss University, Comfort DAC, higher doctorate for his contribution and research in knowledge innovation and machine learning. He has more than 2 decades of industry research and management experience. He worked extensively on strategy formulation and implementation. He developed and delivered products based on research in the areas of AI and machine learning. Before founding Eclat Research, he worked as chief scientist and head at many product companies, author of more than 1 dozen books, including Knowledge Innovation Strategy, IT Strategy, Deliverance from Success, Reinforcement, and Systematic Machine Learning for Decision Making, E-Business, and आपण पहिल्यांदा भेटलो तेव्हा. His 3 books in the area of advanced machine learning and AI are in press. He is adjunct professor and advisor at B schools and technical institutes of repute. Doctor has more than 350 research publication, recipient of Oriental Fellowship and many other performance awards. Dr. Parag sir delivered more than 100 tutorials across the globe. He delivered more than 300 keynote addresses at various international conferences. He is actively involved in making IT startup product companies successfully through his strategic management and research skill. Sir, your profile is too strong and very nice. We are so lucky that we got the today's speaker like you. We welcome you once again, and we are really eager to listen you. So instead of wasting more time, I directly hand over the session towards you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, can you stop this sharing so I can share my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yeah, you can.
Thank you, thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My screen is visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Many thanks, Suchitra madam and Dr. Kokate sir for inviting me. Actually, it's a long story. Kokate sir and I were colleagues long back, and I used to share my poems with him, and we used to enjoy those long back. I think it is more than almost 30 years back. So, dear friends, I'm basically a storyteller. So I will tell you a number of stories based on my experience in industry for last 30 years. I worked with different companies. Some of them were very small companies, few of them were big companies. I worked as chief scientist, CEO, founder of the company, and a number of roles. So we actually tried to solve some problems. And AI and machine learning is basically a thinking and way to solve the problem. So today I will like to share my experiences, some stories where we solved some difficult problems, some interesting solutions came out of this struggle, came out of this deliberation. So I'm going to tell about that during my next 1 hour or 1.5 hours journey. Okay. If you have any questions, you can stop me, you can ask me, no issues at any time. So 1 second, let me get going. Let me begin with a story. There's a wonderful book by Harari. Harari is a researcher. And he has written a book, Sapiens. So this is based on the story, or rather this excerpt based on his book. Around 5 lakh years ago, there were two species exactly like human being. There were Homo sapiens and Neanderthals. Homo sapiens were huge, maybe 6 feet, 6.5 feet in height, very strongly built. Neanderthals were huge, strongly built, very organized. And Homo sapiens were weak, agile, hardly 5 feet, 5.5 feet height. On any day, if Homo sapiens and Neanderthal would have confronted, Neanderthals would have crushed Homo sapiens. But it did not happen. Homo sapiens survived. That is, we survived. All of us survived. Neanderthal became extinct. Harari tried to take crack at this. And what he realized, that it is our ability to learn from uncertainty that made the difference. There are a couple of other reasons that definitely contributed, like intolerance, creating non-existing myths like God, maybe company may be a non-existing myth, but we survive. But major component is learning from uncertainty. And a few days back, when I was addressing GISA, that is one of the premier venue for entrepreneurs in Japan, a few of the audience, a few delegates asked me, what about singularity? You're talking so much about AI. So the answer is very simple. As long as we remain sapiens, we are going to rule the world. The most important and most difficult part is being sapient and remain sapient. Anyway, I will begin with a poem, and Madam already introduced you as I am. So I like to write. So I made a product. I made a product that wanted to learn, sensing all the data, keen to change the world. I made a product that wanted to learn, sensing all the data, keen to change the world. I spoke to product to understand the problem. I spoke to product to understand the problem, wrote some code to make it learn again. Product never learned. Product never learned, kept fooling me for years, taking all my data, left me only in tears. Product never learned, kept fooling me for years, taking all my data, left me only in tears. AI is thinking and breaking old patterns. It is not just teaching machines, but saving your intelligence. So anyway, with that note, I will start our deliberations today. These are the 3 books I have written related to AI, machine learning, There's reverse hypothesis machine learning that is published by Springer AI, which is one of the best-selling book and a reference book for more than 30 odd universities, and reinforcement and systemic machine learning published by IEEE Wiley. These are other books I have written. Knowledge Innovation Strategy, again, one of the book that is doing very good. More than 10,000 copies are sold. Forward was given by Dr. Epsi Kohli and Ratan Tata. Unfortunately, Dr. Epsi Kohli passed away in November of 2000. And that was a big loss to IT as well as my personal loss. He was the first CEO of TCS and founder of TCS. He's also known as father of IT revolution in India. And anyway, Ratan Tata, all of you know. These are upcoming books. Again, I'm writing one book on choice computing, which is trying to tell you how human choosing can be helped to model learning process. Then there is a digital business innovation with Prentice Hall, and there is another book, Saptarshi, which is a slightly different book. This is basically a book of story of knowledge innovation strategy, and fortunately I got a lot of exposure in local here newspapers in Japan, as well as Hindustan Times, and a few good meetings with some great guys. So let me tell you a story to begin with. What is machine learning and what is artificial intelligence? And I think most of you are final year students and you know about it. But I always wanted that someone should simplify it for me. And I will try to simplify it for you. Because when I was at IIT Kharagpur, I wanted that someone should have told me that, okay, let me build a product out of my thesis. Let me build a product out of my research. So same thing I'm going to tell you, that how we can approach research related to artificial intelligence. So let me begin with this story. This is not a very technical story. I have actually changed this story a lot. Basically, the original version of the story I heard long back, maybe around 35 years back, when Purushottam Darvekar visited Sangli and gave a wonderful speech. He was one of the well-known writer from in Marathi. So this is a story of an actor. There was one, and I have made a machine learning story out of it. So it is completely different. So not exactly borrowed, but the basic structure is borrowed from whatever story he told and whatever I remembered. And this story is also part of my book where I put a lot of case studies. So there was one actor, a wonderful actor. You know, actor that so you must have seen a lot of plays. And this guy was a wonderful actor. Like maybe you know Prabhakar Panshikar used to act on Tomi Naves. Prashant Damle used to act on Eka Lagnachi Goshta. And there are shows after shows, and these few plays are were very popular. And this guy was actor in one of such plays, very popular plays. And that same play he's doing again and again. So he mastered that. And one fine day, there was a climax. This guy was in lead role. And in climax, there was a scene. You know, climax, if anyone go to Oxford Dictionary, the meaning is led through the emotions. So in the climax, there was a scene in which this guy, who was in a positive character, is supposed to pull the revolver out of his pocket, direct the revolver in the direction of the person who was in the negative character, and fire at him, saying some dialogues, right? So this guy said, you are such a worse guy. You deserve that. He pulled revolver out of his pocket, directed in the direction of the person who was in negative character. But there is twist and tell. This is 1940 story. There was no sound system. There used to be two persons with a blown balloon. And these persons were supposed to burst those balloons to make the sound of firing. So this guy pulled his revolver out of his pocket and he said, "You're such a bad guy, you deserve death." Unfortunately, balloon did not burst. There was some problem at the back of the stage. But this is a wonderful guy, very versatile, very intelligent to know that. He thought probably the person at the back of the stage might not have heard. He shouted, "You deserve death." Unfortunately, balloon did not burst. अब ये बंदा परेशान हो गया, लो कुछ तो करना चाहिए. तो बहुत ही बढ़िया एक्टर, wonderful person, wonderful actor. He came with a trick. He said, "इतनी आसानी से मरने नहीं दूंगा. I will not allow you to die so easily. You did this to my father, you did that to my mother," and he told the whole story. Even वो जो ऑडियंस थे वो भी परेशान हो गए, बोले यार बस हो गया, मार 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 अभी मार. Then he said, "Okay, now you deserve death. I'm going to kill you." Unfortunately, balloon did not burst. अब ये बंदा परेशान हो गया. But again, a very intelligent actor. "I think you're lucky. There is some problem with this revolver. But don't worry, I have this knife." He pulled pen out of his pocket. वो 1940 की light arrangement. You hardly make out whether it's a knife or pen. He said, "I think you're lucky. There is some problem with this revolver. But don't worry, I have this knife." He pulled pen out of his pocket. He ran to that person. He was about to stab, and balloon burst. And everyone started laughing. Instead of clapping, they started laughing. This is typical reinforcement learning scenario, where you collect rewards and penalties. Instead of clapping, that is a reward, he's getting laughing, that is penalty. What penalty suggests? You have to correct it, you have to improve it. So it's supervised learning in process, which he learned over the years, but did not work that day because there was unforeseen scenario and he has to learn in different way. Things went like that. Another wonderful day, show up the same play, same climax. This guy used his old, said, "You deserve death, I'm going to kill you." Unfortunately, that day also there was some problem at the back of the stage. Balloon did not burst. Again, he used his old trick. He shouted, didn't work. He then said, "I will not allow you to die so easily. Let me tell you whole story." He told the whole story. And then said, "I'm going to kill you." Unfortunately, balloon did not burst. He used his old trick, said, "You're lucky, but there's some problem with the revolver. But don't worry, I have this knife." He pulled pen out of his pocket. He ran to that person and he was about to stab. And even unfortunately, this time also balloon burst, but he looked in different directions, say, "Oh, Robert, you killed him? Great job. I knew you wanted to kill him." That is reinforcement learning. Basically, we learn, all learning algorithms are inspired from human learning. And if you decode this story, I won't take too much time to decode it, but you will find the flavors of all learning algorithms in this story, right from simple labeled or supervised learning algorithm to reinforcement learning algorithms. So anyway, I will just tell you one very interesting case study. I had a meeting with Yutaka Yamagishi. He's a car racer, a great guy. So it was a wonderful meeting. So why I'm showing you this? He's a racer and entrepreneur. So he told me how they are using machine learning in racing. And then he has couple of ideas where machine and human can work together to participate in the race. And anyway, his detailed story I have included in my book, Choice Computing. There's another person I met very recently, Yoichi Yamane. He's a CEO of Mogic. He's a learning management system in Tokyo. Someone will say, what's great deal in learning management system? So this guy has found out a number of ways to make the learning management system intelligent so that LMS itself will be participative and can interact with the clients and make, like we have this Moodle and all that, and we find sometimes they're very boring, these learning management systems. We find those are very typical. So this guy realized you have to get rid of these typical things and you have to change it to make it really intelligent. So anyway, in this context, I will tell you another story. It was 2000, around 22 years back. I relocated from Singapore to India and joined one company. I was heading one company there, research of one company. The name was Ideas, Integrated Decision Company, Integrated Decision Systems. They were leader in yield management for hospitality industry. They were building some AI, machine learning. That time it was very nascent state. Algorithms for hotels, so that you can get they can get best rate. You know that now, if you book flight today, you may have to pay different amount. Tomorrow it's a different price. It keeps changing every day. You can blame companies like this company for it, and algorithms we worked on those days long back. So it was doing it for the hotels, and it was 2000. 2000 is a year that Y2K and all that, people were traveling here and their economy was doing good. But unfortunately, there was a problem for hospitality industry, because in Europe, there was a foot and mouth disease. Foot and mouth disease was not like COVID, very dangerous, and so many people died of COVID, but it was still a dangerous thing. And people were really worried, they were not ready to travel. Occupancies were hitting all-time low, and no one was ready to buy our product. Already we had few good customers, around 100 plus customers, Radissons, Marriotts, Shangri-Las, then Hyatt's, Hiltons and all that, very big hotels, 5-star hotels. But apart from that, no one was ready to buy, and even some of them also started complaining that we'll not pay money and will not do that because the occupancy is very low. And that time, there was a research head from United States, that headquarter of the company, Ravi. Ravi is a wonderful person, a very great researcher. Ravi was also PhD from, I think he was mostly from Stanford or something, and was heading the research for US office. So Ravi invited me, and we were in Minneapolis trying to solve this problem algorithmically. I think there was Mark Robino, who was marketing vice president. He said it's more like a marketing problem and we'll resolve it. But we continued our efforts. And in the September, I was supposed to come back to India, September of 2001. But unfortunately, there was this Twin Tower episode on 11 September. the occupancies went down further. The company was in real soup. We were thinking of laying off people. The things were looking bad. And Ravi wanted we should solve this problem algorithmically. So Ravi, Morat, there was another scientist, Morat, myself, and Omar, a wonderful researcher, Omar. We sat together. And then I tried to study everything. And I had one observation that occupancies of the 3-star hotels and roadside hotels or airport hotels was not impacted much. So I asked them, we should sell them. They said, no, it's not possible because our software is very expensive, only 5-star hotels can afford it. And there was a logical because our software was very expensive because we used to take 1 year of data, then yielding team has to work for 6 months on that data to come up with all those forecasting things, and whatever nascent AI we were using, that was there. But we wanted to solve this problem to save employees, to save the company. And that agenda we took, that we have to make these 3-star properties our customers. So I started thinking, I wanted this complexity should be out, which was taking 6 months for learning. What is to be done? And one fine day, idea came to my mind, that is incremental machine learning. So it's 2001, probably machine learning was in very nascent state. So what was incremental machine learning? It was a slightly different, I will tell you exactly, that there were around 100 properties. We had clustered those properties into number based on behaviors. And every property has every cluster has a representative behavior. So what I did, whenever new property will come or will be registered, will just based on some initial feature will map it to one of the clusters. And that representative behavior will be assigned to that property. Okay? And that property will be actually all yielding algorithm will work based on that representative pattern. And as data start chipping in, we will incrementally recluster it to go to. And the new cluster, it may add off to new cluster, or it itself can form a completely new structure, or it can migrate to another structure. The idea worked. We had around 1,000 properties registered in next 1 year. I think the company was sold for a few hundred millions recently, maybe around 7-8 years back. So anyway, so what I am trying to tell you, there was nothing great. The idea is that you have to think in artificial intelligence way, think in machine learning way. I will give one more example. I was studying at IIT Kharagpur. I was pursuing my PhD. And मेरा PhD तो ठीक ठाक चल रहा था. Anyone who has done PhD knows that you need research papers and all that, and maybe IEEE transaction is one of the difficult thing to crack. Fortunately, I had one paper under my belt, and मेरे guide का कहना था कि एक और and you are done. And there was around 15-20 papers already I have done in conferences and some other journals like Journal of System Architecture and couple of other journals. मेरा जो गाइड था, वंडरफुल पर्सन, उसने एक रिसर्च टीम फॉर्म की थी. उसमें मैं था, रोहिल था एंड श्यामा था. श्यामा वाज बीटेक फाइनल ईयर गाय, बीटेक कंप्यूटर फाइनल ईयर. रोहिल वाज सेकंड ईयर एमटेक और मैं पीएचडी का. आप तीनों मिलके काम कर रहे थे. एंड बिकॉज वी वर वर्किंग टुगेदर, वी वर वेरी गुड फ्रेंड्स. और काम ठीक से चल रहा था. मुझे एक ही चिंता लगी रहती थी कि मेरा दिबेंदु ना हो जाए. अब ये दिबेंदु होना, ये काफी मशहूर कहावत थी उस टाइम आईआईटी में, बिकॉज दिवेंदु नाम का एक बंदा मेरे ही सुपरवाइजर और कुछ सुपरवाइजर के अंडर 7-8 साल से पीएचडी कर रहा था. तो कोई किसी का दिवेंदु होना मीन्स मे बी ही मे हैव टू slog a lot and work for years to do the PhD. तो मेरे परेशानी रहती थी कि अभी फिर हम तीनों एक बार बीसी रॉय हॉल के बाहर खड़े थे, विधान चंद्र रॉय हॉल, विच इज हॉल फॉर PhD स्टूडेंट्स एट IIT खड़गपुर. ये जस्ट मेन बिल्डिंग के बाजू में, अगर आपने किसी ने IIT खड़गपुर को विजिट किया हुआ तो I was standing outside IIT खड़गपुर, sorry, BC Roy Hall with these my two friends Shama and Royal. फिर मैं शामा को बता रहा था कि अरे वो लोड बैलेंसिंग, माय PhD टॉपिक वाज डायनामिक लोड बैलेंसिंग ऑन नेटवर्क ऑफ वर्क स्टेशंस. तो मैं काफी कुछ नए एक लोड ग्राफ बेस्ड ट्रांसफर मेथड लॉकट्रा करके एक एल्गोरिथम इंट्रोड्यूस किया था, एंड वी आर ट्राइंग टू इंप्रूव इट दैट एम लॉकट्रा समथिंग. तो मैं उसके साथ खड़ा था और फिर मैं शामा को बता रहा था कि तू ऐसा कर, बिकॉज शामा वाज अ वेरी गुड कोडर. तो मेरी आइडियाज वो इम्प्लीमेंट करता था. एंड फिर रोहिल और हम बैठ के कुछ देखते थे कि उसमें क्या किया जाए और क्या किया जाए. तो मैं बोल रहा था शामा को ये करना. शामा अलग ही जगह में देख रहा था. ही वॉज नॉट रेडी टू लिसन टू मी. थोड़ा मैं गुस्सा हो गया, बट एक्चुअली शामा इज अ वेरी गुड रिसोर्स. आई वॉज नॉट इन पोजिशन टू ऑफेंड हिम. मैंने बोला शामा यार क्या कर रहा है यार, देख नहीं रहा. तो बोला कि देख वो बंदा घास काट रहा है ना. तो ही वॉज लुकिंग एट अ पर्सन हु वाज कटिंग द ग्रास. अब आपको IIT खड़गपुर के बारे में बता दूं कि इट्स 2200 acres of campus, which is 5 to 6 times of IIT Bombay, and if you to be exact 22 times of CMU. So it's a huge campus. And BC Roy Hall के सामने एक खाली जगह थी, and there was a lot of grass, and एक बंदा sword like device से घास काट रहा था. अगर आपने देखा होगा तो उसको वो उसने अभी भी वैसे काटते हैं क्या नहीं पता नहीं मुझे, बट एटलीस्ट मोर देन 25 years बैक इट वाज लाइक दैट. तो मैंने शामा को बोला यार उसको घास काटने दे, तू मेरी तरफ ध्यान दे, हम अपना रिसर्च का क्या करना है वो करते. शामा तैयार ही नहीं था. शामा बोला कि नहीं, दिस इज नॉट द राइट वे. अब शामा को ऑफेंड करने की पोजीशन में मैं तो था नहीं. तो बोला मैंने, शामा तुझको क्या बोलना है, चल तू मेरी तरफ ध्यान नहीं देगा, मेरा दिवेंदु हो जाएगा, तू तो बीटेक करके चला जाएगा, ये भी एमटेक करके चला जाएगा. शामा सुनने को ही तैयार नहीं था. फाइनली वी वेंट टू दैट पर्सन और शामा ने उसको पूछा कि चल हमारे साथ चल. शामा 6 feet हाइट. वो बंदा डर गया, बोले कि क्या है. बोले नहीं यू कम विथ मी. तो वो बंदा बोला यार मुझे दिन के 60 रुपए मिलते यार, तेरे साथ कैसे आओ. शामा ने 100 रुपए का नोट दिया, उसको थमा दिया, बोला कि तुम इसकी तरफ देखो, चलो. तो उसको लेके गए हम BC रॉय हॉस्पिटल में. हॉस्पिटल का नाम भी BC रॉय ही है, शायद PhD वालों को ज्यादा जरूरत पड़ती होगी, आई डोंट नो. देन वी टुक दैट गाय टू ऑर्थोपेडिक सर्जन. ऑर्थोपेडिक सर्जन ने ऑर्थोपेडिक सर्जन को शामा ने जो कुछ है बताया, फिर उसके एक्सरेज वगैरह लिए राइट हैंड के, एंड दे कंक्लूडेड दैट बिकॉज ऑफ द क्रॉनिक प्रेशर अप्लाइड ऑन द राइट हैंड ऑफ दैट पर्सन देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ परमानेंट डैमेज. शामा बोला देख मैं बता रहा था. एंड इन नेक्स्ट 1 month, Shama designed and developed a portable grass cutting machine. Shama was not a mechanical engineer, he was a computer engineer. He designed and developed a portable grass cutting machine जिसमें उसने AI लगाया था, ऐसा मेरा मानना है. That was the first AI का आविष्कार मैंने देखा. What was that? I will tell you. He made it hydraulic. There was a lever on the top. That lever you can press with thumb. Then there were blades underneath. Those blades will cut the grass and move that grass to bin. There were wheels to take that grass cutting machine. And there was a pressure gauge. So whatever pressure applied by the individual will be reported. And slowly the system will learn based on the pressure applied and come up with the optimal pressure required to cut the grass. Whenever the pressure required to cut the grass increases beyond threshold, it will give the alarm. And if you look at it, it is exactly the definition of intelligent agent. What is an intelligent agent? Intelligent agent has actuators and sensors. Actuators to act on the world, sensors to sense the world, and it has a component which is called as agent function or learning component. Sensors sense the world. So there was a sensor, those were sensing whatever it may be underneath grass. Actuators applied by human pressure, and there is a second sensor which is sensing the pressure applied by individual. There was an actuator, there was a learning agent that will try to learn and decide the optimal pressure to be applied, and there was an actuator that will give the alarm whenever the pressure applied is more than threshold. Wonderful innovation. Unfortunately, very next year, Shama got his BTech, went to Redmond Hill to join Microsoft. Rohil completed his MTech, went to AT&T lab and joined. I was fortunate to complete my PhD in 3 years, came back to Pune. I visited IIT maybe around 10 years back. That time, still people were cutting the grass with the sword-like device. I don't know the current scenario. Anyway, so what is AI? Embedding intelligence and abilities into machine so that machine can exhibit intelligence for which human being is known and admired. So all of you know the Turing test of intelligence. So you have two locations. You're getting response from two different locations. And if you could, one location, the response is given by human, and other location, the response is given by machine. And if you could not distinguish whether the response is coming from room A or room B, then machine has cleared that. So we started thinking, there is a very great possibility that we can have a creative AI. So what could be a creative artificial system? A collection of processes, natural and or technological, which are capable of achieving or simulating behavior, which if exhibited by humans would be deemed creative. There could be a creative test of AI, and even I'm writing one book on creative artificial intelligence. So if traditional programming program drives outcome, machine learning data output drives program, and reinforcement learning data rewards penalties drive the program and learning strategy. So that is the way if you look at, so what is reinforcement learning? The data and rewards and penalties are driving program and learning strategy. So learning, maybe you can learn with interaction, as I said. So if you can very well say that whatever Shama did, probably an intelligent agent, because it has agent, environment, state, reward, percept, and all that. And you may think of probably there can be a cooperative thing, that number of agents, and they are getting different responses. And then they are taking different initiatives parallelly. So there is a possibility of reinforcement and agile adaptation. So basically, if I want to define learning, I like to refer the book, a quote from the book by Peter Senge, Fifth Discipline, that learning does not mean acquiring more information, but expanding the ability of the ability to produce the result we truly want in the life. So that is the learning of human. But if you can put it in machine way, that learning is building ability to produce the expected results. So AI is about embedding intelligence, preferably human-like intelligence, into machine to expand its ability to produce the result we truly want from it. So what are we doing?
Hello. Sir, please unmute yourself. By mistake, it is mute.
Mute.
Hello.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what I will do, suppose I want to build a AI product, or I want to build a, let's say, some machine learning product. How shall I go about it? So I will take some 6-7 steps, every step with a story, so that you can relate to it, and with a case study or story. So I will begin with, first thing, begin with a problem. Don't begin with a solution, don't begin with a research paper, don't begin with anything. Begin with a problem. If the research paper is giving you the problem, wonderful. So I will tell you a story of money. How one can begin with a problem and achieve the greatness. Money was from a middle class family from Midnapur, a small place near Kharagpur. Actually, it's a district place, but maybe a size wise and even population wise smaller than Kharagpur. Mani was an intelligent guy. His father was a teacher. उसने अच्छे से education किया. Then he went to maybe 10, 12 जो भी होता है वो किया. Then he went to University of Kolkata for his bachelor and masters. He completed his masters in physics. And then he got admission for PhD in IIT Kharagpur. So he came to IIT Kharagpur. तो एक दिन वो उसके दोस्त ने उसको बोला कि तू इतना बड़ा साइंटिस्ट है यार, मेरा ये प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर. व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम? दैट मेरे स्पेक्स, आई वांट टू गेट रीड ऑफ दिस स्पेक्स. ये तो इससे काफी परेशानी होती है. और अगर आप 19 ये ही मस्ट ग्रेजुएटेड इन 1960 और समथिंग. उस टाइम तो खड़गपुर, मिदनापुर से खड़गपुर तो बस के ऊपर ही बैठ के आते थे लोग. एंड अगर स्पेक्स है तो दो लीव द मार्क्स ऑन योर नोज. और फिर अनदर प्रॉब्लम इज दैट ग्लास के वो स्पेक्स थे. अगर गलती से किसी के पैर के नीचे आ गया तो हफ्ते भर स्कूल की छुट्टी. तो उसके दोस्त का कहना था कि मेरा ये प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर. तो मनी टुक इट सीरियसली. Mani started working on it. He did some research on laser during his PhD. Then went to University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA for his postdoc. During his PhD postdoc and further work, he invented LASIK. LASIK is used to get rid of specs. अगर आपने सुना होगा तो LASIK surgery के बारे में. And if someone has got rid of his specs because of LASIK, then you should thank Mani. Mani patented this, and Mani made a lot of money. He had even bungalow near home of Sylvester Stallone in that area. Anyway, so what I'm trying to tell you, whatever, there are a number of such stories. Anyway, we don't have time to tell. I don't have time, and even today we don't have time to tell all the stories. But on some other day I will tell you number of stories where people began with a problem and made the history. Second thing is identify learning opportunities. अब आप AI का product build करना चाहते हैं, so you have to identify the learning opportunity. Is there learning opportunity for a machine, for the process, and what is that? I will tell you a story. This is also a story of part of my book, Knowledge Innovation Strategy. एक श्रीकांत नाम का बंदा है, उसने कुछ तो डिप्लोमा किया मैकेनिकल में, एंड देन ही वेंट टू थर्मैक्स, जॉइंट थर्मैक्स में काम कर रहा था. एक दिन छुट्टी में, ही वाज फ्रॉम कुपवाड़ ना, सांगली के पास में ही कुपवाड़ है, देयर इज MIDC इन कुपवाड़. तो कुपवाड़ के पास में उसका घर था. तो वो घर आया, फिर वो उधर कुपवाड़ एरिया में घूम रहा था. और फिर श्रीकांत ने देखा कि वहां खेतों के बाजू में कुछ मशीन्स रखे हुए हैं. तो these machines were looking pretty new, very nice, well crafted. और बारिश में वो वैसे ही बाहर, in the rain they were lying there without attention by anyone. उसको उसने 2-3 जगह वैसे ही देखा. He became curious. An engineer by heart. तो वो उस बंदे के पास गया. वहां एक फार्मर खड़ा था, उसको बोला कि यार ये क्या आपका अच्छा मशीन बाहर पड़ा है, आप बारिश में क्यों रखा है, क्या है ये? मैं बोला यार ये यूजलेस है यार, इट्स ना, ये कुछ काम का नहीं है. क्या क्या काम का नहीं है? तो बोले ये जो है ना, कि गवर्नमेंट ये देती है सब्सिडी इसलिए लिया, बट अदरवाइज इसका इतना मेंटेनेंस है कि यू कांट यूज इट. इसको ब्रिकेटिंग मशीन बोलते हैं, और दैट कन्वर्ट्स एग्रो वेस्ट इनटू एग्रो फ्यूएल. आपल्याकडे ते कडबा कुट्टी यंत्र म्हणतात ना, त्याचा थोडासा वेगळा फॉर्म आहे. कडबा कुट्टी इज बेलिंग मशीन, दिस इज अ ब्रिकेटिंग मशीन. ओके, तर त्याच प्रिन्सिपलवर, ऑन दॅट प्रिन्सिपल देयर इज अ ब्रिकेटिंग मशीन which is used to convert agro waste into agro fuel. श्रीकांत को लगा कि यार कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग है. वो बोला कि यार मुझे दे दे ये मशीन, मैं देखता हूं क्या प्रॉब्लम है, आई विल पे यू. वो बंदा बोला नहीं यार लेके जा, ऐसे ही तो कचरा पड़ा. बट ही गेव सम मनी, few thousand rupees, and took that machine to his home. He dismantled it. He realized that कि वहां वो जो कुछ 4 chain या 2 chain मैकेनिज्म यूज होता है, उसके कारण there is a mechanical pressure that is responsible for wear and tear. तो उसने उसको हाइड्रोलिक बना दिया. एक प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व. दूसरा, व्हाट ही रियलाइज कि ये मशीन का इफिशिएंसी बहुत कम है. क्या किया जाए इफिशिएंसी? तो उसने रियलाइज किया कि फॉरवर्ड स्ट्रोक में वो प्रेस करता है दैट एग्रो वेस्ट, बट रिवर्स स्ट्रोक तो वेस्ट होता है. द रिवर्स स्ट्रोक इज वेस्टेड. So he made it a 2-stage. That forward stroke में इधर प्रेस होगा, रिवर्स स्ट्रोक में अलग ड्रम में पीछे प्रेस होगा. So the machine efficiency improved 1.5 times. Because डबल तो हो नहीं सकती, because again energy is required. Something 1.5 or 1.7 times. तीसरा चीज उसने रियलाइज की ये मशीन बनाता तो है एग्रो फ्यूएल, बट एग्रो फ्यूएल जो है दैट इज समटाइम वेरी हार्ड, समटाइम वेरी पोरस. अगर बहुत ही हार्ड बन गया तो इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू बर्न. अगर बहुत पोरस बन गया देन इट बर्न्स व्हेरी फास्ट. तुम्ही ते गवऱ्या बघितल्या असतील, त्या गवऱ्या कशा पटापट पटापट जळतात आणि धूर करतात, तशा टाइपचं काहीतरी. तो उसको लगा कि कुछ तो करना चाहिए. तो ही रियलाइज, उसने बोला कि आई कैन यूज मशीन लर्निंग और एआई. व्हाट ही डिड कि दैट प्रेशर अप्लाइड, द मशीन शुड लर्न हाउ मच प्रेशर टू बी अप्लाइड. सो उसमें क्या किया कि छोटा सा लर्निंग कॉम्पोनेंट, इट विल लर्न बेस्ड ऑन इमेजेस एंड वेट्स ऑफ द एग्रो वेस्ट. और इमेजेस एंड वेट के बेसिस पे द मशीन विल लर्न एंड डिसाइड हाउ मच प्रेशर टू अप्लाई. ही हैज पेटेंटेड हाइड्राबेल and exporting this machine to more than 24 countries in the world. Imagine. So it's not limited to what you're saying, text mining or something like that. I have few more stories. There are few Japanese young researchers with whom I am working. So there are actually mushroom. So third thing is ML model is the key. You have to come up with machine learning model. First thing is begin with the problem. Begin with a problem. Second is identify learning opportunity. Third thing is machine learning model is the key. So we have built the models. There is a mushroom classification. Niigata is an area of Japan which is known as very good mushroom production, and they wanted to classify the mushrooms. There are few poisonous mushrooms also. So the opportunity cost based parking. Again, there is a model is a key, because there was a company, because if you look at these pictures also, you'll find that 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 yens for a parking. Parking is so expensive in Tokyo region that if you park a car for 1 month or few months, probably it's more than your car cost. So can it be resolved. And so then there was a model based on identifying the parking lot which is recommended for a particular user. We worked on intelligent appraisal system without human intervention. And fourth important point is, when you have a model, you have to take that model to the value creation. There is another inventor, an entrepreneur with whom I worked. This guy is Bandot from Hungary. What Bandot did, Bandot was actually a lawyer. He is a lawyer rather. फिर वन फाइन डे उसने डिसाइड किया कि मैं आईटी सीखूंगा, इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी. ही ग्रेजुएटेड और डिड सम पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन कंप्यूटर साइंस. तो मैंने आई मेट हिम वन फाइन डे. ही इज फ्रॉम हंगेरी. हंगेरी की एक लीगल फर्म में काम करता था. तो मैंने उसको पूछा कि तेरा मोटिवेशन क्या है लॉ सीखने का. तो बोले ही आइडेंटिफाइड मेनी प्रॉब्लम्स इन द लीगल इंडस्ट्री एंड उसमें से कोई तो प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करने की उसकी इच्छा है. एंड ही इज कीन टू सॉल्व दोस प्रॉब्लम एंड he thinks that he needs some knowledge about AI and machine learning to solve that problem. फिर after completing that उसने उसका प्रॉब्लम बताया. प्रॉब्लम ये था कि there is a law firm, और लॉ फर्म के बारे में आप जानते होंगे कि काफी सारे लॉयर्स एक साथ वो फर्म में रहते हैं sometimes. And this guy was working in one of the big law firms. तो वहां देयर वाज 3 टाइप्स ऑफ लॉयर्स. एक तो काफी जूनियर जो कि दे आर लाइक अ ट्रेनी टाइप ऑफ पीपल. देन मिडिल रीजन, थोड़े बहुत एक्सपीरियंस, मे बी 5 years समथिंग लाइक. एंड देयर वाज टॉप लॉयर्स. दे एक्चुअली ओन द फर्म एंड मे बी with maybe 20-30 years experience and very good lawyers. And like that कि suppose कोई भी क्रिमिनल केस उसके पास लेके जाओ, वो बंदा तो बाहर आ ही जाएगा टाइप पीपल. तो अब क्या हुआ, उसका कहना था कि कोई बंदा अगर हमारे पास केस लेके आता है तो हमारी फर्म बड़ी तो है बट इतनी भी बड़ी नहीं कि हम उसको बोलेंगे कि पहले 1000 रुपए क्या 50,000 रुपए रख एंड देन वी विल सॉल्व योर केस. हमको उसको केस सुनना पड़ता है. तो हम क्या करते हैं कि एक जूनियर लॉयर को बताते हैं कि जा यार इसका सुन ले. तो फिर जूनियर लॉयर बैठता है उसके साथ, उसका केस सुनता है. अब जूनियर लॉयर को लगा कि ये केस ले नहीं सकते, तो भी जूनियर लॉयर इज नॉट अ डिसीजन मेकिंग अथॉरिटी. तो वो समरी लेके वो मिडिल लेवल लॉयर के पास जाता है. और अगर उसको लगा कि ये केस ले सकते हैं तो भी वो मिडिल लेवल लॉयर के पास समरी लेके जाता है. देन मिडिल लेवल लॉयर अगर केस बिल्कुल ही रिलेवेंट नहीं है तो उनको बोलता है कि भैया हम ये केस नहीं ले सकते बिकॉज दिस इज नॉट आवर कोर कॉम्पिटेंस, और फिर उसको भगा देता है. बट अगर उसको लगा कि ये केस ले सकते देन या बाउंड्री टाइप का केस है तो वो सीनियर लॉयर के पास जाएगा एंड दे विल टेक द केस. बट दे कांट चार्ज clients for this initial discussion. The very reason is they are not a very big firm, and secondly upfront अगर पैसे ही डिमांड करो और आप केस भी नहीं ले रहे तो probably no one will like it. और वो कोई भी केस ले ले ऐसा वो फर्म नहीं था. मे बी देयर मे बी फर्म्स दोज आर कोई भी केस आने दो ले लेंगे. बट सो व्हाट ही थॉट कि ही वांटेड टू सॉल्व दिस प्रॉब्लम. तो उसने एक लीगल कियोस्क बनाया. तो उसमें क्या था, कुछ क्वेश्चन, कोई भी क्लाइंट आ गया कि उसके सामने कुछ क्वेश्चन आंसर आएंगे एंड द क्लाइंट विल टेल हिज स्टोरी. क्लाइंट ने स्टोरी बताने के बाद दैट स्टोरी विल बी क्लासिफाइड इनटू 3 टाइप्स: रेड, ग्रीन एंड एम्बर. रेड मीन्स दिस स्टोरी इज नॉट इन द area of core competence of that particular firm and that firm cannot take it. In spite of that, if अगर उनको वो केस सुनाना है किसी को तो they will have to pay money. Green means your case is in the area of our core competence. You please come ahead. We'll take your case, and they can directly go to middle level lawyers. Third जो था वो amber, जो कि they're doubtful कि ये ले सकते हैं नहीं ले सकते. In that case, they will not charge. The case का हम लेंगे ही, we can't guarantee you, but you can talk with our junior lawyers and they will take the final call. The 20 to 30% of the time of the lawyer is saved with this. Model to value creation. Finally, AI is for what? To deliver the value. There's another guy from Thailand who invented an intelligent system to identify whether the elephant is close by, to avoid destruction of the farms. Another very wonderful researcher from Norway, Dan, he identified embedding behavioral aspects in video game. कि अभी तो ऑफलाइन स्कूल चल रहा है, कितने लोग वीडियो गेम खेल रहे हैं और कितने सुन रहे हैं पता नहीं. So when they are playing the video game, what happens? It may be possible that it may be harming, it may making some negative impact on their mental health. Because everyone, there may be some video games are very violent, though there are some warnings, those are very generalized. तो डैन का कहना था कि we should have empathy in the players, actors in the video game. And based on the profile of the player, the actor will change the behavior so that there will be minimum negative impact on the players who are playing the game. And there are many such ideas. So when you're trying to think about model and value creation, it's not constrained. Maybe I will not tell this story because, but this one of my friend is also case study from my book, Knowledge Innovation Strategy, where this guy used machine learning for classification of chana, and which made him one of the major exporter of the chana. So he classified chana into 4 categories: 1 cycle breakable, 2 cycle breakable, 3 cycle breakable, 4 cycle not breakable. And 1 cycle breakable means a very good quality, that is for export. He's also the person who invented first automated chana making machine, which can keep the taste of hand-picked chana. So your machine learning is not limited to Google-like thing, or product recommendation, or text classification, or news recommendation. It can be much broader. Open your eyes to find a problem, and then close your eyes to identify the technique. Probably you are there. It can be deep and exploratory. I told you the story of hospitality industry, where probably incremental learning we introduced. But in today's scenario, probably deep and exploratory learning can make sense. Most of the problems are partially observable and dynamic. And dynamic and partially observable problems cannot be solved with static models, because problems are like, you cannot solve the problem with the same type of thinking. You have to change the thinking, like said by Albert Einstein. Same way, you can't solve the static problems by static thinking and dynamic problems by static thinking and static learning methods. It should be deep and exploratory. So basically, to have problems solved or to create a value, you have to begin with a problem, identify learning opportunities. Machine learning model is the key. Come up with a model. Model to value creation is the key, and you have to, it is not constrained to a particular application. And it is deep and exploratory. So it can even, there are a number of other examples in the mortgage industry, and I will just tell this example and conclude with a poem. Actually, this is a story. I was heading a research lab at one company, a Capsilon. और फिर एक दिन क्या हुआ कि this company was trying to make a paperless office, and was working in a mortgage, so that that market secondary selling and tertiary selling should be done. फिर when हम काफी सारे टेक्निक्स ट्राई कर रहे थे. It was in 2004, 2005. Basically, these OCR documents to be classified, and with very good accuracy, maybe 99% or more than that. तो वहां जो भी टेक्निक थे SVM वगैरह डायरेक्ट उस पे लगाओ, तो we are getting some 60, 70, कुछ बहुत ही नसीब ने साथ दिया तो 75. हाँ? CEO was not happy because that was not the numbers with which we can go to the market. फिर एक दिन क्या हुआ कि मैंने सोचा कि आई वाज लुकिंग एट द प्रॉब्लम. फिर मैंने बोला कि वहां देयर आर फ्यू BPO टाइप ऑफ गाइज हु वर क्लासिफाइंग द डॉक्यूमेंट्स. तो मैंने आई सैट विद देम, उनको पूछा कि अरे ये एडजस्टेबल रेट नोट है, ये तुझे कैसे पता चला? आई गेव देम OCR, नॉट ओरिजिनल डॉक्यूमेंट, बिकॉज नाउ राइट. देन मैंने उनको ओरिजिनल डॉक्यूमेंट भी दिया और उसको बोला कि अगर ये एडजस्टेबल रेट है नोट है, ये डीड ऑफ ट्रस्ट है, ये बलून राइडर है, ये बलून नोट है, हाउ डिड यू आइडेंटिफाई दिस डॉक्यूमेंट, हाउ डिड यू क्लासिफाई? तो उसने बोला कि अरे ये इधर देखा मैंने, ये इधर देखा, ये इधर देखा, ये इधर. आई केम अप विद आइडिया. Human looks at the paper, makes the image out of that paper, and that makes image out of that text, and that image is used for classifying. So I came up with an algorithm that is called as location diagram based classification. तो जो भी important words है उनका एक location diagram बनेगा. It will be saved as a vector and documents will be classified. एक रात में बैठा, because that day मेरा जो मेन कोडिंग बंदा था समीर was on leave, तो मैं खुद बैठ के रात को एक छोटा सा कोड लिखा and next day I just demonstrated. Accuracy was 99%. The CEO was amazed. मैंने कुछ नहीं किया. I just this thought process I have implemented. So you have to openly, with open eyes, you have to look. And this company was sold for, I think, some $400 million in 3 years back. Anyway, there are a couple of my PhD students. I was first PhD guide in computer engineering in COEP. So I got opportunity to guide many PhD candidates. So 20 total. And कुछ लोगों ने काफी इंटरेस्टिंग काम भी कर रहे हैं कुछ लोग, because I now stopped guiding PhDs. क्योंकि because I have too much load of industry and projects. But there are few guys who did interesting work. एक बंदे ने वो grace notes identify करके human emotions map करने का काम किया है. Then another guy is working on turning point, identifying turning points in price forecasting. Before PhD, his work is even used by one of the companies, leading companies. And then there is one lady, she worked on unearthing Bharatanatyam stories. So anyway, you have to look at all these things, uncertainty, intolerance, and all that. Uncertainty is a very important factor. Maybe I will skip few slides and I will conclude my discussion. There are a few more stories, but let me conclude it with one poem and open it for questions and answers. Then you can enlighten the world. Everyone is running after the goal with all stress and strength. Everyone is forcing the team as a whole in the storm and the rain. Sometimes I wonder and ask myself, do I know the real goal? While running fast all along, have I forgotten my true role? It goes like that. It is the rat race. Body gets tired, so our soul. Success we get without success. Deadlines are made sometimes. Those are missed many times. We try to laugh to show we are happy. We try to balance on the surface sloppy. Today, when I am looking back, there are just pieces of thoughts, less success and more loss, no light and everything is dark. Let me tell you the only fact: light is inside, outside is dark. Look inside for the light and gold. Then you can enlighten the world. So, dear friends, I will stop with this uh, and let me stop sharing. If you have any question, please.
Dear student, if you have any kind of question, you can ask.
Yeah. Anyone has any question? Anything you want to know from me? Yeah, please let me know.
No question?
Actually, I remember one story. मी वालचंद कॉलेजमध्ये माझं बी आय वॉज लॉंग बॅक इन वालचंद कॉलेज ऑफ इंजिनिअरिंग आणि कॉलेजमध्ये आमच्याकडे सेमिनार असायचे आणि सेमिनारला मार्क्स असायचे. तर मग काय करायचं, आम्ही प्रश्न देऊन ठेवायचो मुलांना की ते प्रश्न त्यांनी विचारायचे सेमिनारमध्ये, म्हणजे आपल्याला मार्क मिळतील, आपल्याला उत्तर माहीत असलेले प्रश्न देऊन ठेवायचे. आता तुम्ही करत असाल सगळे. तर माझा एक मित्र होता फार जवळचा, आता त्याची फार मोठी कंपनी आहे पुण्याला, आय विल नॉट टेल द नेम. तर त्याने मला, तो मेकॅनिकलला होता, पण तरी काय झालं, मी त्याचा फारच जवळचा मित्र होतो म्हणून मला त्याने क्वेश्चन, मला आणि एक दोघांना प्रश्न देऊन ठेवले. मी त्याचं सेमिनार खास ऐकायला गेलो होतो. मला काही फारसं माहित नव्हतं त्या विषयातलं काही. एनिवे मी कॉम्प्युटरला होतो, तो मेकॅनिकलला होता. त्याचा सेमिनार वगैरे चांगला झाला, तसा हुशारच होता तो, चांगला झाला. मग त्याने प्रश्न एका विचारायला सुरुवात केली. कोणीच प्रश्न विचारेना. कदाचित त्याने ज्यांना चिठ्ठ्या दिल्या होत्या ते कोणी आले नसतील का, काय होतं कोण जाणे. मग तो माझ्याकडे मोठ्या आशाभूत नजरेने बघायला लागला. मी आपलं चिठ्ठी शोधतोय, ती काय खिशात कुठे ठेवली होती सापडेना. मग मी इकडे बघितलं, तिकडे बघितलं, तो फारच अनइझी दिसत होता. त्याला निदान एक तरी प्रश्न यावा अशी इच्छा असावी. शेवटी मी काही चिठ्ठी न सापडल्यामुळे तसाच उभा राहिलो आणि काहीतरी वेगळाच प्रश्न विचारला, पण त्याने तेच उत्तर दिलं आणि the seminar concluded. So anyway, thank you for patient listening.
Okay, anyone wants to ask any question?
Hello, sir.
बोला.
Yes, sir. I have one question regarding A star and MA star. So, what is memory bounded A star algorithm, sir, and how memory is bounded? So, I just wanted to know that.
त्याच्यामध्ये मेमरी कन्स्ट्रेंट असतो, बाकी काहीच नाही. दोज आर एक्झॅक्टली सेम.
Okay.
मेमरी इज कन्स्ट्रेंट. आणि तुम्ही मला आम्ही आमच्या पुस्तक जे एआयचं लिहिलेलं आहे ना,
Yes, sir.
त्याच्यामध्ये खूप चांगल्या रीतीने डिस्क्राईब केलं. म्हणजे आय हॅव रिटन इट विथ प्राची.
Yes, sir. Prachi Joshi
PhD
and
student.
yes,
तर
sir.
तिने त्याचं एक छान उदाहरण दिलंय. मे बी इफ यू कॅन टेक अ लुक ॲट दिस आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजन्स बुक ना, विल फाइंड. आणि प्राची ऍक्च्युली इज व्हेरी गुड ऍट, म्हणजे त्याचे एक्झाम्पल वगैरे क्रिएट करणं. तर तुम्ही जर तो एआयचं पुस्तक बघितलं ना, आमचं प्रेंटिस हॉलचं आहे.
Yes, sir. Actually, I'm referring that book, and it is really well written. So,
Okay. Actually, sir, first time the subject AI introduced in the syllabus of third year computer. So this is the first time that AI introduced in SPPU curriculum.
ओके, थर्ड इयरला का? नाही, आधी होतं ना, फायनल इयरला होता मला वाटतं आधी का?
yes, sir.
राईट. आता मला वाटतं ते पूर्वी आमचं पुस्तक होतं रेफरन्स बुक, आता आहे का नाही माहित नाही मला, पण मे बी फ्यू इयर्स बॅक इट वॉज अ रेफरन्स बुक.
Yeah, for master engineering, there was the syllabus in depth, but for undergraduate course, it's first time.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Kathy, do you want to ask anything? Hello.
हा बोला.
Okay.
कोणाला anyone has any question?
ओके, आय थिंक सगळ्यांना बऱ्यापैकी कळलेलं आहे. आय होप. Okay, thank you very much, sir. Your poems was very interesting and nice. So it's a time for vote of thanks. It gives me immense pleasure to give vote of thanks. I really thankful to Dr. Parag Kulkarni, sir, to accept our invitation in very short period and giving your valuable time for our student. Really, sir, the session was so live, thought-provoking, and very interesting. And we never forget your 6 tips that begin with the problem, identify opportunity, use ML, model is a key, take model to value creation, not constrained by application, deep and exploratory. We remember all these key points, and also I'm thankful to the management and principal Dr. MD Kokate sir for allowing this webinar. I must thankful to Dr. MR Sanghvi sir, who is vice principal and head of department, for their time to time guidance. And last, thanks to my dear students for giving your attention during this webinar. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks a
Yes,
lot.
yes. We would like to such a session in future also, sir. But it should be offline now, so the impact will be more.
Sure. Whenever I will be back, maybe we can definitely have a.
Yes,
I
sir.
would
Yes.
definitely love to visit your college. And I didn't meet Professor Kokate for a long time and Principal Kokate for a long time, and I would love to meet him.
Sir, actually, sir wants to attend this webinar surely, but urgently they have one important meeting at Nashik region, so they are unable to attend.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Anyway, definitely I will, when I will be there, will definitely meet. Sure.
Yes, sir. Whenever you will be back to India, just put one message or we will contact you. Then we must want your session offline, sir.
Sure. I'll
Yes, yes.
love to do. Okay.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable